So I just got back from getting my nails done. Don't they look fabulous? And I have to tell you what happened at the nail salon. This finger here had a big split in it. So instead of doing the normal gel manicure like I normally get gel fingernail polish, she put some powder on it to kind of tighten that up and work with the split and everything. And I tend to have a lot of trouble having my nails peel off before my 2 weeks is up. So anyway, and I do not want to offend anybody in this. This is not my intention, but there's one guy that works in the salon that speaks English very, very well. The owner doesn't speak it that well. The gal that does my nails does not speak English that well. And there's a communication gap many times because I feel like I'm telling my gal things and she just looks at me with a blank stare on her face. I don't know whether she truly does not understand what I'm saying, or, in the movies, a lot of times people will be like, no speak English, and they really do, but they just want to pretend like they don't. I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. I don't care. But the bottom line was, after I got that one nail done, it looked fairly good. And I'm like going, maybe doing that on all of my nails every week might make them stay on a little bit better, or every 2 weeks when I get them done. So I call over the one English speaking guy. We have a little bit of a relationship. I did a reading for him, back in January, February or something. So he's always very friendly to me. And for pure quickness and getting my questions answered, I called him over. I didn't ask the girl that does my nails. I didn't ask the owner. I just wanted to talk to somebody that spoke English. I could ask my questions. I could get my answers. I could make my decision. I was just in an information gathering stage at that moment in time. So Paul comes over and I start asking him questions and, how long does it last? And maybe I should try this and blah, 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 blah. Again, I am information gathering. I can hear the owner back from his seat where he's at. He starts, I'm going to say yelling because we were far enough away that he has to kind of yell his stuff at me. And so I've got two people talking to me at once. I've got Paul talking to me and I've got the owner talking to me. And I stop. I'm like, one at a time, please. One at a time. So Alex gets up and comes over, and he's the owner, and he ends up bypassing and he starts saying all of this stuff. Of course, he's frustrated at this point because apparently Paul was not giving me the answers that he thought he should have been. And I trust Paul because he's worked there. He's been in the nail salon for a long time. I was just, again, information gathering. So long story short, I end up, it almost felt like an altercation. I'm sure all of the people, there was only a couple of there were 3 or 4 people that worked at the salon, and one gal's getting a pedicure. And I am sure these people thought that me and the owner were going to come down to a knockdown, drag out fight, because he raises his voice and I'm raising my voice. And I'm, inside of me, I'm like going, bring it down, because my voice carries so bad. Any of my friends know. I mean, you can tell when I'm talking to this camera, I'm like, you probably have to turn the volume down because I talk so loud. So any conversation that I have that might be above a normal range, it sounds like I am screaming at the top of my lungs. And I was just like, it just kind of got out of control. I mean, I wasn't mad, and I don't think the owner was mad. I think he was frustrated because his frustration comes from, he tries to have conversations with his people and his people don't listen to him. I can tell you why his people don't listen to him is because the way he handles his communication. He and I have had this conversation before. We had this last year when he he came to me one day and we were talking about, he's frustrated because his people won't listen to him and blah, 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 blah. And I can tell his people don't listen to him because of the way he tries to communicate. You can't belittle somebody and emasculate somebody and humiliate somebody into submission and get them to work things out your way. So I can see from 90 miles away, I've been going to that nail salon for about 1.5 years. I see how the dynamics work in there. And so anyway, it just was humorous to me that I kind of got pulled in on that, but I just have a feeling that is something that happens every day in there, of him being frustrated, not being able to communicate to his people, but it's his style of communication. So I don't know why I'm telling you this, other than I feel like this is, again, I'm all about the teachable moments. You know, it's like, I feel like this is a case of, if you are someone who struggles communicating with somebody and you just cannot get your point through to them, stop and think about how you're trying to communicate to somebody, and look at yourself and see what you are doing that's not being effective. You know, I mean, I can think of so many times that I'm like, I've been trying to figure out how to communicate with people for years. And there was a point in time where, like, after 2008, so again, here we go with the stories. Again, this is a rambling message. I should have warned you that from the beginning. But after the real estate market tanked in 2008, I had to live with people for a long time. And one of the guys that I lived with, he had taken a job in California. So he was gone 3 weeks at a time, and he would come in 3 days at a time. And it was like the perfect living situation. It was cheap rent. It was a nice house. He was gone most of the time. There wasn't any kind of physical chemistry. I swear to God, I think he was my dad in a previous life. So it was a living arrangement. It was a good one. When he was there, I just kind of stayed clear. So when I first moved into the house, I was just trying to kind of get to know him, and he, somewhere along the line, I'm trying to think, he made a comment that I reminded him of his ex-wife, which right there should tell you one thing. There's probably going to be some issues between us because I remind him of his ex-wife. And I'm just asking him some questions, and he made a comment about his ex-wife and him being somewhat civil. And I said something about, do you have hopes of being more than just civil someday? Or, you know, to me, just having a civil relationship is, you tolerate each other barely, and other than that, you are not friends. And I do not know where this is going, people, so just bear with me here. I don't know where they're taking me with this. So anyhow, we're having this conversation, and I had asked him, I was like, so do you hope to be civil, more than civil someday? And he jumps on me immediately and basically said, I don't want somebody analyzing everything that I say all the time. And I was like, whoa. I was like, all I was doing was just talking and asking questions and trying to get to know him a little bit better. And he jumped down my throat, and I thought, fine, fuck you, dude. We don't have to have conversations whatsoever. And that was, because of the way he reacted, I completely shut down communicating with him, and I stayed as far away from him as I could, because he had made it clear to me that me asking questions, being myself, whatever, he took offense to it, and he shut me down in a hurry. And basically having any kind of deep conversation was off limits. So I want you to think about that. In your life, do you have problems where you cannot communicate with people, do they shut down on you immediately? And you need to stop and think about where you are the offending person in that. Are you judgmental? Does somebody say something to you and you immediately jump their shit? Are people not safe to have conversations with you? I know in the past when I was younger, that was probably very much the case for me. And because I was in kind of a hurt place, I would get very offended if somebody said, I would get triggered. I would immediately, take it personally. And I think I probably had people not able to talk to me easily. Some people, not everybody. I had my good days and my bad days. I had days where I could sit there and I could listen, but I also had my days there where I wanted to fix everybody. I try not to do that these days, but I'm sure I still have some of that in me. Maybe that's why I've taken up having a YouTube channel, is because I can sit here and give my advice. And if you don't like it, you just click off. You don't have to sit in a living room with me while I try to fix you. So you go, yeah, I'm done with her. I'm out of here. And that's what I would prefer, is someone that doesn't want to hear what I have to say to just say, sayonara, see you later. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And I think about times in the past when I've had communication, and now I don't get so bent out of shape when somebody says something that triggers me, because now I can look at myself and I can go, ooh, they said something, and I can feel the hair on the back of my neck, stand up, and I'll be like, oh, they've said something that has affected me. And now I don't usually pop off something like I used to have in the past. Now I kind of stop and look and go, okay, what about that comment that they just said has made me feel less than perfect, unworthy, whatever, all of those, wounds that come up. So anyhow, so I'm like, I'll be able to go into the nail salon in 2 weeks. I'm just still laughing about that whole altercation, though, of how he got so bent out of shape. And I don't know if it was because I was asking someone who spoke English better instead of him as the owner, or whether he got bent out of shape because, he didn't get straight to the point. I'm like, I didn't need him to get straight to the point. I was information gathering. I was asking questions. He made assumptions. He's like, you're not going to like it. I'm like, how the fuck do you know I'm not going to like having my nails dipped all the time, So I guess the moral of the story here is, when someone is asking questions, don't jump to conclusions about what they are trying to find out. When someone is making comments, don't jump to conclusions that they are trying to make you look bad. Getting listening to learn. Came from the book I read not too long ago, The Queen's Code. Listen to learn. Listen to what someone is saying to learn what they have to say. And that's what I was doing. I was asking questions and then listening what they had to say. And then the owner had to jump in and basically, ruffled everybody's feathers in the whole place. If he'd have just stayed where he was at and kept his mouth shut, I would have gotten my questions answered. I would have made my decision, and, I would have gone from there. So anyhow, I don't know if anybody has any comments about communication, but I am curious if you guys have people in your life that you have problems communicating with, or where that comes from. I've gotten to the point now is I still steer pretty clear from people that get bent out of shape really easy by anything I say, because I know that they have a tendency to, they're taking offense to that because of something they're thinking about themselves. And I'm just kind of to the point now. It's like if I spend very much time with somebody and they get shitty with me for me being me, I don't have a whole lot of use for that. And I'm just curious of where you guys are at in that journey. Have you cut yourself loose from those people, or are you still engaging with those people? Are you an active participant in bad communication? Maybe that's what I'll name this. Are you a participant in bad communication? Anyway, again, don't know where this is going. Don't know what this is all about, but I just wanted to share that with you guys and get your input about the whole, you know, if there's a way that you see this story that maybe I'm not looking at. I'm curious. I'm just curious. So anyway, I hope y'all have a good week, and talk to you whenever. Bye.